Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome to lecture part two of Guitar Heroes, comma, apostrophe, whatever, not the damn game. Come on, man. No, I like the game. It introduced me to a lot of songs that I didn't, really care for. But, anywho, I, uh, I guess I foobarred to the point where I got a couple of comments stating that I did not fully recognize some of the genius musicians of our age and generation. A hick, a hick, a hick. All right, so I might, hit a couple of musicians I hit last time, but this is about me and my development in music and who I worshiped. And then if anybody out there says, hey, I remember that song, I really enjoyed it. Go back, listen to it, and find out there are other songs from that individual that you enjoyed, you know, broaden your horizons. So, now, some of the comments I got were quite funny, actually. It's like, I'm told I need to tell more stories about, especially when I was working at the record shop and the people that I met through there for music. And I also want to go into a little bit more detail of the Southwest Iowa regime. I'm talking about great ones like, Hauser and Murrin and Webb, Skinny Webb. Oh, awesome guitar player. But there's going to be a lot of different stories where I'm going to be, I'll start off going off the Hammerjacks, the 930 Club, Slammers, Teddy Bears. These are all local, well, I wouldn't say local, but these are all huge bars that were established to bring in musical acts. Hammerjacks in Maryland was awesome. I love that place. Then you got the 930 Club, which is pretty good for that lower tone or full on throat. And you had acts like War going through there. I mean, come on. But my favorite was Slammers, which was then renamed Teddy Bears. But a lot of these places had acts coming through that were at the big arenas like the night before or the night after. This is like an extra pickup cash. And these guys, these bands that were coming by, they were getting 50 to 60,000 a pop just showing up at these little bars, and they made the money. Trust me. These bars were packed and full. But we got to see a lot of the Atlantic Records crew, like Wrathchild America. I got a lot of stories about Wrathchild. Um, I got to see the Black Crows a couple of times through there. Um, there was XYZ, and that was also where I got to meet Chris from Sabotage. He played there. They played there. Ace Frehley was there. And my boss at the record shop got a guitar signed by him. And we put it up in, with the Iron Maiden stuff and the Anthrax stuff, Metallica stuff, Queensryche stuff. I've met a lot of people that have been great inspiration for me. And I was probably not even a thought in their mind, you know? So, but when I'm talking, okay, Chris Holmes, he was one of the first actual badasses that I really got interested in listening to. I mean, the decline of Western civilization, where he was sitting in a pool drinking a full bottle of vodka nonstop. That just I fast forward through that. I couldn't watch. Even at that age, I could not watch someone drink an entire full bottle of vodka like that. It made me want to hurl. That's how, he was badass. But Wasp, you know, let a lot of the bands that I truly enjoy open up for them. So you got Chris Holmes up there playing, probably stoned out of his mind, messed up, and you've got bands. Metallica opened up for them. Um, I think everybody in the metal, growing up metal, getting to it, opened up for Wasp. I mean, I don't know if it was Blackie or the record label, but a lot of groups got their start opening up for Wasp. They got their door open. And a lot of people don't recognize that. You've got the big four that were being established at the same time that I was learning and figuring things out. You got Anthrax, badass. Scotty is awesome. You've got Megadeth. Dave and every guitarist has worked with him as far superior musicians. Slayer, man. All right. Kerry King Kerry and Chris both, man. They, from day one, established not only a brotherhood as musicians, but their music is so unique. I love Slayer to death. Seasons of the Abyss is a great album. So is South of Heaven. But, and then you got Metallica. We all know about them. I've talked about them enough. But at the same time as these things were going on, you had a whole different, I can't say genre, but what I can say is a subset of actual musicians, guitar players that are coming out with solo work where it's just nothing but instrumental work. And these musicians are the ones I keyed in on for the longest time, and it broadened me out even more. You've got Joe Satriani, who, taught some of the great ones. Like, he gave Steve Vai lessons, he gave Kurt Hammett lessons, and and Alex of Testament. But you've got Steve Vai, who was bringing up this whole different world of sound. His equipment is being altered. He's got the Gem 7 being established, and that, a 7-string guitarist, hitting those lows and highs, it's genius. So you got to give Steve Vai that. But Yngwie Malmsteen. Malmsteen came in and blew everybody's doors away with he was in the side projects as he was Alcatraz, one of them. But when he came out, Rising Force, and then started working with Joe Lynn Turner, like Heaven Tonight. Oh, I love his classical play, but he plays with such emotion that you feel it all the way through. And I get that same from Nuno Betancourt or Vito Bratta from White Lion. Vito came up with some outlandishly mixed up runs that were just music in itself. A lot of the music you hear from him, Vito, is just an emotional drainage, roller coaster ride. You got one song where you're hip and you're going crazy, enjoying yourself. Then next you're about to cry your eyes out, man. So, but then I have to get into musicians like David Gilmour. When it comes to emotion, I think all in all he is king. Hands down, Pink Floyd. When David started playing lead, and he started establishing himself with Pink Floyd, we started getting a really great sense of music, period. It lets you flow. It relaxes you. It takes your entire body, mind, heart, soul, everything. It takes you on a journey of calm relaxation, but yet the storyline is so morbid at times where you don't even realizing you're enjoying pain. And to me, that's awesome. That's artwork. That's being an artist. So, David, yeah. But then on the other spectrum, you've got some of these great guitarists that are feeding off of these great ones, these icons, like Iommi going into, to me, Riff Masters, where Slayer, the top four. I mean, they reestablished that crunching and gave other generations coming up, like Alexi Alejo. A lot of people don't know about Alexi. Okay, and if you do, you truly understand this guy is not only a great guitar player, but he is a composer. He is a musician at different levels. And he was never given, he had passed away, and he was never given his true givens. Okay? And all you have to do, Children of Bodom, yeah, they're heavy. And Alexi, yeah, he had a crunch to him, but his technique was clean. And if you understand about music, you understand that it doesn't matter what his distorted sound is. He had a clean, harmonizing lead that was unquestionable. So, but also, there was also another guitar player that a lot of people didn't understand or didn't know about, John Marshall. Now, some of you would know him as he's the guitar tech for Metallica, for Kirk Hammett, and he's also a part of the great Metal Church. Now, I love Metal Church. The twin guitars, they established a great setup with that. But John Marshall, being a musician that's only been able to play on Thursday or Friday or Saturday nights needs a job. So being a tech was right in his alley on the times he could. So John, while playing with Metal Church and going through being a tech, had to play on stage due to an accident to James Hetfield in a couple of concert shows to cover. And he did an excellent job, down and out. And it gave James the heel, but yet still give the fans what they wanted. So it's also musicians like that that are able to learn and establish themselves with anything. I mean, come on. That's like a superhero in the music world. But as I was talking about Metal Church and the twin guitars, there are so many groups out there that rely on the twin guitars that it's hard to get into. I mean, Exodus, Testament, Armored Saint. Oh, I love John Bush's vocals, I do, but man, Armored Saint, Phil and Duncan, when they're playing guitar, they're just like back and forth. Now, they also have kind of interesting, but see, the brother of Phil is Gonzo, and he plays drums. And when I knew that his name was Gonzo, it was like, yeah, because we all love the Muppets. Period. I don't care who you are. If you don't like the Muppets or love the Muppets, you need to be shot, dragged and quartered, then burned, and then an old priest and a new priest will come over your body, and hopefully that'll be the end of it. But the Muppets are American icon, and without Animal, I wouldn't be here today. I am a guitarist through and through, but Animal is the iconic drummer in my world. Okay. So, now, the twin guitars, Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, Anthrax. You've got all these great acts that have given a lot of other acts that ability to have a rhythm going on and giving a different dynamic to the song. So when you play live and you have one guitarist, you're limited on what you can do. Okay? And you can extend the song, but a lot of times when you're playing, you like to shorten the song. The pace is a lot quicker. Okay? Now you can add, subtract, whatever. It's yours to do with when you're on that stage playing it and however you rehearsed it. Okay, but that single guitar player is not going to have that full crunch from the songs that you have the twins from. So sometimes you are limited on what songs to play on stage because you have one guitar. Now, when you spread it to one guitar and one synthesizer, piano, okay, that unleashes the hounds, so to say, because you're getting different harmonies and dynamics. You can basically change everything over to piano and play it alongside as a rhythm. But when you got two guitars crunching through Marshall amps and you got songs on your set list that are going to make people bang their heads and enjoy themselves, man, the smile on those people's faces, it's priceless. You get the energy back. No longer. I just get upset with today's music industry where all you have to do is just plug into your computer and you have an orchestra right behind your song. I mean, I understand that, yay, great, woohoo, but there's no feeling. There's no actual dynamic to it. I mean, yeah, you could do it on a computer, but there's no love involved. I the I don't get it, but it's not for me to say. I'm retired. I'm out of that field, you know. But there's still a lot of musicians that I grew up with that are still dabbling and playing along just to keep warm. So when you got guitar heroes out there that are still banging it out and letting us, retirees or old folks remember the good old days in music. We still have generations and generations of music that I have no idea about. I mean, I went from 80s and stuck in the 80s until like 90s. In other words, I just followed the same musicians over and over. I grew up with them. I know their music. I like their music. It's calm and relaxing. And as time progresses, and I'm using these different apps like Amazon Music, and it'll give me a whole list, a radio station. I'll put in a group that I want to hear. I'll get a radio station of different musicians, and I'll like them or not like them. And I'm being taught new music this way. And I am finding there are some really great guitar players out there that are not getting any kind of recognition whatsoever. Okay? And I feel it's because it's not personal anymore. There are some guitar players out there that I see on Facebook, the up and comers and these young kids, 6, 7 years old, that are they're blowing me away. They're doing things that I didn't know how to do till I was 20, 21, and I started when I was 13. But with today's technology, learning is a lot faster and easier. But in the same sense as you're not getting that feeling from playing those songs, man, the way I played it, radio or video, Headbangers Ball. And I would learn how to play the song by, I know that it was lip synced finally in the end, but I would still mock what they're doing on the neck while still listening and then figuring things out and seeing if they sound the same. I was tuning in my ear. And in the same sense, I was getting emotionally involved in a song. And that's the same sense when you're practicing with your band for, playing on stage in front of a whole group of your friends and your family, local people. That's where you all start. You don't start on a computer screen TikToking your abilities. That's great, and I'm glad you're able to do that. But, you're not going to get your chops and you're not going to learn about your music until you're in front of somebody playing it. And whether it's 5 people or 50 people or 5,000 people, it doesn't matter. The energy you get from one individual or several individuals helps and makes up for a lot of the painstaking bullshit you got to go through to learn to enjoy yourself. There are always basics to everything when it comes to playing guitar. You've got to learn the basics. And once you get past that and you feel good about that, then you learn your way. Okay, whatever way you want to do it. Personally, I used Steve Vai had a warm-up session in Guitar Magazine, and I used that for a long time. It kept my accuracy, my speed, my left-right techniques. It honed in on everything, and I was really enjoying myself. I would burn some trees, go through about 3 hours of just playing and enjoying myself. Yeah, and then after dealing with the either not having blisters on the fingertips or having to peel back the skin on my fingertips so I can get new skin established and get it nice and hard and ready to rock. It took a while to do that. I learned different tricks of the trade to get the fingertips established, So when I'm on here, the nuts and bolts of the whole thing, I'm trying to give somebody out there who's got issues with music and mental health and trying to focus on musicians that actually make you feel good. We all have different, feelings and genres and whatever, but with my mental illness, it took music to guide me through a lot of treacherous waters and a lot of great people along the way. R.I.P. Kevin Smith, man. Kevin, lead singer, passed on not too long ago in Iowa. It was so much fun to watch him up there on that stage. Oh, he would get the crowd going. And I tell you what, it wasn't a good night unless we saw at least a set of boobs. I swear. Kevin loved that shit. But, we run into great people along the way who open the door for other things. Like I said in my last episode, riding around with Hauser and Murren that day, Black Label Society on the CD, that was huge for me. And that came because of music, being a musician in Southwest Iowa regime. Anyways, I know I've missed a lot. Like, last episode I didn't bring up Angus and Malcolm. AC/DC. Iconic. Okay? And I apologize for that. Like, Cliff Burton. Well, there's also Billy Sheehan. Also, Stu Hamm. And you got Nikki Sixx. And Poison, I'm sorry, DD now I enjoy. He's down to earth and he's humble now. Back in the day, man, new, didn't go anywhere near him. No, I didn't even listen to anything outside of Poison. Well, I like Brett, but anyways, Brett Michaels is awesome. We all know that. So I apologize for missing a lot of others, and I'm hoping that in due time I will more than likely bring out a part three. So I apologize to all those others, and I will close it with this. Slash, I did not miss him on purpose. I apologize for that. My math teacher has hit me with a ruler. Slash is iconic beyond. When you are able to say a one word name and picture it, the hat, no shirt, the Gibson, the leather pants, Welcome to the Jungle. It redefined the metal world, and it came out about a good time because of grunge and everything. But Slash, often, I love the fact that he is so passive. He don't give a shit. He just wants to play music, and he's always getting the butt end of the bad deals. But he turns around and Slash being Slash, just Miles Kennedy is such a great choice. And I love Miles with Alter Bridge, Mark Tremonti. But Slash, all in all, iconic. And he will be one of those guitarists that a lot of musicians will want to learn. Sweet Child of Mine is, to me, legendary. Okay? And it's noticed first lick. So, I apologize for not bringing Slash into the last episode, and I gave him the final one on this one. So, this is Doobie Snacks saying goodbye to all, and I hope that your musical outlook has expanded. Love y'all. Peace. Southwest Iowa regime.